If someone had told me a week ago that my life was about to fall apart, I would have laughed in their face. I was happy. Or at least, I thought I was. My husband, Nathan, was away on a business trip, his third one in 2 months. I missed him, of course, but I had no reason to suspect anything. No reason to question the life we had built together. Until I saw the message. It was late at night, and I was curled up in bed, scrolling mindlessly through my phone. The house felt too big, too empty without Nathan, but I told myself I was being dramatic. I had always been the type to overthink things when I was alone. And then my phone vibrated. A single notification popped up on the screen. A message from an unknown number. Do you ever think about telling her? My heart stopped. At first, I thought it was spam, some random text sent to the wrong number. But something about it felt off. I hesitated for a moment before typing back. Who is this? The reply came almost instantly. Does it matter? You deserve to know. A chill ran down my spine. Deserve to know what? I sat up in bed, my fingers trembling as I typed. Know what? Tell me. The typing bubble appeared, then disappeared. Appeared again. Then finally. Check his study. Look under the floorboard by his desk. My stomach dropped. Nathan's study. He had always been protective of that space. He never let me in when he was working, always kept the door locked when he wasn't home. And now someone was telling me there was something hidden there? I should have ignored it. I should have gone to sleep and laughed it off in the morning. But I didn't. Because something deep inside me whispered, this is it. This is the moment everything changes. And I wasn't ready for what I was about to find. I sat there for what felt like forever, my fingers still gripping my phone, my heart pounding in my ears. Nathan's study. The message had to be a joke. Some cruel prank. Maybe a scam. But, who would know to tell me to check under the floorboard? I swallowed hard, every nerve in my body screaming at me not to do this. Not to go digging into something that could ruin the illusion of my perfect life. But my feet were already moving. The house was eerily quiet as I walked down the darkened hallway. The shadows stretched long against the walls, and for the first time, I realized how different this house felt without Nathan in it. When I reached the door to his study, my hand hesitated on the handle. Locked. Of course. Nathan always locked this door when he wasn't home. He said it was for security, that he kept important work files in there. I had never questioned it before. But now? Now I was questioning everything. I took a slow, shaky breath and went to the kitchen, grabbing the spare key from the drawer where we kept all the random things we never used, old receipts, expired gift cards, the key to a door I wasn't supposed to open. My hands were ice cold as I unlocked it and stepped inside. The study, and the floorboard that shouldn't be loose. Nathan's study smelled like him, faint cologne, polished wood, and the faintest hint of old paper. His desk sat perfectly organized, his bookshelves lined with expensive-looking novels and business journals. Everything in its place. Everything too perfect. My hands shook as I moved to the spot the message had mentioned, by the desk. I knelt down, running my fingers along the floorboards, searching for something, anything, out of place. And then I felt it. A tiny gap. A barely noticeable shift in the wood beneath my fingers. My breath caught. I slid my nails beneath the edge and pulled. The board lifted with ease, revealing a hollow space beneath. My stomach clenched. And inside that hidden space, was a box. The box that shattered my world. It was small, old-looking, made of dark wood. My hands shook as I pulled it out, setting it on Nathan's desk. It wasn't locked. I lifted the lid, half expecting to find meaningless documents, maybe old letters. Anything, that would make me feel foolish for doubting my husband. Instead, what I found made my entire body go numb. There were photos. Dozens of them, stacked neatly inside the box. I flipped through them with trembling fingers, my breath catching in my throat. Nathan. With her. A woman I had never seen before. They were in restaurants, in hotel rooms, in places he had told me were business trips. My husband was having an affair. I wanted to scream. To throw the box across the room. To call him and demand an explanation. But then, I saw the last photo. And my blood turned to ice. Because this time? It wasn't just him and the woman. It was them and a child. A little girl. She had Nathan's eyes. My legs buckled beneath me, and I clutched the desk to keep from collapsing. Nathan didn't just have an affair. He had a whole other life. And I had never known. I stared at the photo, my vision blurring, my heart breaking into 1,000 pieces. And then, my phone buzzed. Another message. From the same unknown number. Now you understand. I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled as I gripped the edge of the desk, my vision swimming with shock. The photo of Nathan, the woman, and their daughter burned into my mind like a cruel brand. I had spent years believing I was his one and only. That our marriage, our life, was real. But now I knew the truth. Nathan had another family. And someone out there knew. Because the moment I found the photo, my phone buzzed again. Another message. Now you understand. A chill ran down my spine. Who was this person? And how the hell did they know what I had just found? The fear settles in. I wanted to ignore the message. I wanted to pretend I hadn't just found evidence that my entire marriage was built on lies. But I couldn't. My fingers moved on their own, typing back a single question. Who are you? The response came almost instantly. Someone who thought you deserved to know the truth. I swallowed hard. My pulse was a deafening drumbeat in my ears. How do you know about this? This time, the typing bubble lingered for longer than before. Then. Because I know her. And I know Nathan. Better than you ever have. The words sent a shiver through me. Whoever this was, they weren't just some stranger. They were close. Close enough to know about his affair. Close enough to know where to tell me to look. Close enough to know me. I glanced around the dimly lit study, a suffocating paranoia curling around my chest. Was I being watched? Had they been waiting for me to finally discover the truth? My stomach twisted, nausea rolling over me in waves. I wanted to scream. To throw the phone. To make this nightmare stop. Instead, I forced my fingers to type. Why are you telling me this? Another pause. Then. Because you're not the only one he's lying to. And she's starting to ask questions. I inhaled sharply. She. The woman in the photo. Nathan's other wife. The reality I couldn't escape. For the first time since I found the photos, rage began to creep in. Nathan hadn't just betrayed me. He had built an entire second life. Another home. Another woman. Another child. And if this mysterious person was telling the truth, she didn't know either. Which meant that somewhere out there, there was a woman just like me, living a lie. Unaware. Unsuspecting. Waiting for her husband to come home, just like I had been. I clenched my fists, my breath coming in shallow gasps. I had two options. I could pretend I never saw any of this. I could push it all away, wait for Nathan to return, act like nothing was wrong. Live in ignorance. Or I could find her. I could show her the truth. And I could destroy the man who thought he could deceive us both. The next message came before I could make a decision. Do you want to meet her? I stared at the screen, my pulse hammering. Whoever this was, they could give me the truth. They could lead me straight to her. But did I really want to go down that path? Could I handle knowing everything? I hesitated for only a second before typing one word. Yes. The reply came almost immediately. Tomorrow. 3 p.m. Hotel Meridian. Room 214. Be ready. My fingers went cold as I gripped the phone, my eyes locked on the screen. This was happening. I was about to meet the woman Nathan had been hiding from me. And whether I was ready or not, my life would never be the same again. I barely slept that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with one single question. Who was she? What was she like? Did she have any idea what kind of man Nathan really was? Had she been living the same lie I had? Or was she in on it? That thought made my stomach turn. If Nathan had managed to keep 2 marriages hidden, what else was he capable of? By the time the sun rose, I had made up my mind. I was going to room 214. And I was going to meet my husband's other wife. A hotel full of secrets. I arrived at the Meridian Hotel 15 minutes early, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. The place was upscale but discreet, the kind of hotel where businessmen brought their mistresses or where people checked in under fake names. Had Nathan brought her here before? Had he brought me here before? The thought made me sick. I stepped out of the car, my legs trembling as I walked through the glass doors. The lobby was quiet, the scent of expensive cologne and fresh linen filling the air. I made my way to the elevators, pressing the button for the second floor with shaking fingers. With every floor I passed, my heart pounded harder. What if she hated me? What if she refused to believe me? Or worse. What if she already knew, and didn't care? The elevator dinged. Second floor. I stepped out, my breath coming in shallow gasps. Room 214 was just down the hall. And standing outside the door was her. The face of a stranger and a sister. She was younger than me. Maybe late 20s. Long, dark hair, high cheekbones, piercing blue eyes. She was beautiful. And she looked just as terrified as I felt. We locked eyes, both of us frozen in place. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Then, finally. You're the wife, she whispered. Her voice wasn't angry. It wasn't bitter. It was shaken. Because in that moment, I realized something chilling. She wasn't expecting me. I swallowed hard. You didn't know I was coming? She shook her head. No. I thought he was meeting me here. Nathan. Of course. He had told her to meet him at this hotel. But instead of him, she got me. And I saw the exact moment realization dawned in her eyes. "Oh my God," she whispered. And just like that, her face crumbled. The woman he lied to. We ended up sitting on the edge of the bed, side by side, staring at the floor. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Then, finally. "How long?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. I clenched my hands in my lap. 8 years. A sharp inhale. She covered her mouth with her hand, shaking her head. I've been with him for 5. A fresh wave of nausea crashed over me. 5 years. Nathan had been married to me while building a second life with her. And neither of us had known. She let out a shaky breath. I thought, she stopped, her voice breaking. I thought we were going to get married. I froze. Nathan wasn't just dating her. He had been planning to marry her. He was going to make her his wife, while I was still his real wife. Tears stung my eyes. "I found the pictures," I whispered. "Of you. Of the little girl." She turned to me, her eyes red-rimmed. "Lily," she choked out. "Her name is Lily. Lily. Nathan's daughter. His secret daughter." The betrayal crashed over me like a tidal wave. He had a family. A child. A whole life that I knew nothing about. And then she said something that made my blood run cold. We were supposed to move in together next month. A man who was always leaving. I stared at her, my heart pounding. "Move in?" I repeated. She nodded, wiping at her eyes. "He told me he was finalizing his divorce. That he needed time." My breath hitched. "Divorce?" She let out a hollow laugh. "Yeah," he said. He and his wife were separated. That they hadn't been together in years. That she was clinging to the marriage and wouldn't let go. Something inside me snapped. Nathan hadn't just lied. He had painted me as the villain. He had made himself the victim. And all this time, he was planning to leave me. He was waiting for the right moment to disappear, just like he had done before. My hands shook with rage. I turned to her, my voice deadly calm. "How much do you want to ruin him?" She blinked, caught off guard. And then, a slow, bitter smile crept across her lips. The beginning of his downfall. She reached for her phone and pulled up a text message. Nathan's name at the top of the screen. "Can't wait to start our life together. She'll be out of the picture soon." My stomach twisted. He really was planning to leave me. And he had been lying to both of us about everything. I met her gaze, a newfound determination settling in my chest. "We're going to make him pay," I whispered. She nodded, her fingers tightening around her phone. "I'm ready." And just like that, we stopped being two women betrayed by the same man. And we became the women who were going to destroy him. I used to believe revenge was beneath me. That no matter how much someone hurt me, the best thing to do was walk away. Nathan changed that. When I saw the message on her phone, "She'll be out of the picture soon," something inside me snapped. He had been planning this for months. Lying. Manipulating. Treating us like we were disposable. Well, not anymore. He wanted to walk away? We were going to make sure he had nowhere to go. The plan. Samantha, Nathan's other woman, his fiancée, sat across from me in the dimly lit hotel room, her fingers still wrapped around her phone. Her face was pale, but her eyes burned with cold fury. "I want him ruined," she said softly. I nodded. "We need to be smart." We spent the next hour piecing together everything we knew. Nathan had told her they were moving in together next month. That meant he had a plan. He had told me he had an important work trip next weekend. That meant he was using business as a cover. And most importantly, he didn't know that we knew. That was our advantage. And we were going to use it. Setting the bait. Nathan was set to return from his current trip in 2 days. That gave us just enough time. I went home that night, my hands still shaking with rage. But I forced myself to play my part. I sent him a text. "Me, miss you. Can't wait for you to be home." His reply came almost instantly. "Nathan, miss you too, baby. Just a few more days." Lies. Meanwhile, Samantha did the same. "Samantha, I'm counting down the days. I can't wait to start our life together." And once again, Nathan took the bait. "Nathan, me too, sweetheart. Just be patient a little longer." We had him. Now all we had to do was wait. The night before his return, I barely slept. I kept replaying everything over and over in my mind. What if this backfired? What if he found out what we were doing? What if, after everything, he still got away with it? No. I wouldn't let that happen. By the time morning came, my fear had been replaced by something stronger. Determination. Tonight, we would end this. The homecoming. I had dinner ready when Nathan walked through the door, playing the role of the perfect, unsuspecting wife. He smiled, kissed my cheek, wrapped his arms around me like he hadn't just spent the last 5 years building a life with another woman. Like he wasn't planning to leave me. I forced myself to smile back. "How was the trip?" Nathan sighed dramatically, shaking his head. "Exhausting. You know how it is, long meetings, late nights." I almost laughed. I knew exactly how it was. I set dinner on the table, pouring him a glass of wine. I thought we could spend the night together. Just us. His eyes darkened with interest. "I'd love that." He had no idea. The call that changed everything. Halfway through dinner, his phone rang. Nathan frowned, pulling it from his pocket. "Sorry, babe. Just a second." I watched as he glanced at the screen. And froze. I knew who it was. Because Samantha was sitting in a car outside, calling him just like we planned. "Everything okay?" I asked sweetly. Nathan forced a smile, but his fingers tightened around his phone. "Yeah, just work stuff." I tilted my head. "Are you sure? You look nervous." He let out a short laugh. "Of course not. Why would I be nervous?" Because he was about to lose everything. His phone rang again. And this time, he didn't answer. Instead, he set it on the table and reached for his wine. And that's when it happened. The front door opened. And Samantha walked in. The moment of reckoning. Nathan went pale. He shot up from his chair, knocking over his wine glass. "What the hell?" Samantha didn't say a word. She just looked at me. And I looked at her. And then, we both turned to him. Nathan's eyes darted between us, his breathing uneven. "Babe," he stammered, looking at me. I don't know what she's doing here." I folded my arms. "Oh, don't you?" Samantha crossed the room, tossing a stack of printed text messages onto the table. "I think you do, Nathan." His eyes flicked down. And the moment he saw what they were, his entire body tensed. All the messages. All the lies. Every single word he had ever sent to both of us. Nathan didn't move. Didn't speak. Because he knew. There was nothing he could say to fix this. And that's when I leaned in, my voice deadly soft. "I know everything." The fall of a liar. The next few minutes were chaos. Nathan tried to deny it. Then he tried to blame us. Then he tried to plead. But Samantha and I never wavered. We hit him with every piece of evidence. The photos. The texts. The emails. The bank statements showing that he had been supporting 2 separate households. Nathan wasn't just a liar. He was a fraud. And the moment he realized he had lost was when Samantha pulled out her phone and started recording. "Tell the truth, Nathan," she said. "Or I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are." His face twisted with rage. And then, with no other choice, he finally broke. "Fine," he spat. "You want the truth? I never wanted either of you." Silence. A sharp, deafening silence. And then Samantha laughed. Not out of amusement. Out of pure, cold satisfaction. "Good," she whispered. "Because now? You have neither of us." Nathan's face fell. And for the first time ever, he looked afraid. Because he had finally lost control. The end of a lie, and the start of something new. Nathan left that night with nothing but the clothes on his back. Samantha and I? We didn't look back. Instead, we sat on my couch, drinking wine, talking like old friends. Because in a way, we were. We had both been victims of the same man. But now, we were free. And as I sat there, watching the fire flicker in the dimly lit room, I realized something. I wasn't broken. I wasn't weak. And I sure as hell wasn't some disposable woman in Nathan's twisted game. I was stronger than he had ever realized. And for the first time in years, I felt alive. Wow, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. This story was intense, and I know it might have brought out a lot of emotions. But now, I want to hear from you. What would you have done in my situation? Have you ever been betrayed like this? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them. And if you found this story shocking, don't forget to leave a like. It really helps support the channel. Also, if there were any mistakes in the story, I truly appreciate your patience. I'm always working to bring you the best content, and your feedback helps so much. Make sure to subscribe for more unbelievable real-life stories. See you in the next one.